Now on just one station, a synagogue attack across the world hitting home for a South Florida woman and her daughter.
And she said your father was the first one to be murdered.
Tonight, they remember a loved one.
Bye, thank you.
While dealing with horror and heartbreak.
South Florida woman getting a phone call no one wants and everyone dreads.
Her father was one of the rabbis killed in a synagogue attack in Jerusalem. She spoke exclusively with 7's Rosh Lowe, who's live on Miami Beach with this. Rosh?
When you speak about local impact of this tragedy in Israel, I want you to think about this. I want you to think about a 7-year-old child sitting in a classroom at the school behind me, Hebrew Academy on Miami Beach. I want you to think about her getting the news, having to get on a plane with her mother, flying to Jerusalem, and mourning her grandfather.
He was praying, and he was actually the one standing outside the doors at the moment he completed his prayer.
Michal Levine lives in South Florida. Her 7-year-old daughter attends Hebrew Academy on Miami Beach. We speak to them by Skype. They're in Jerusalem. Michal's there to mourn the loss of her dad, 7-year-old Yafaat, to mourn the loss of her grandfather. Kalman Levine was one of the 4 rabbis murdered in an act of terror Monday in Jerusalem.
I went today to the place where, this exact spot where he was murdered. And I was hurting his pain, but I also knew that he was a direct sacrifice, maybe upon a nation.
As soon as she received the tragic news, Michal took a flight from South Florida with her daughter to Jerusalem.
We're here, and she was very strong, but I burst out in tears, and I'm still. I didn't speak to him recently, and I'm hurting. But if he was here, he would say that everything's for the best, and what hurts is not necessarily bad, and it's not that because everything is good.
And with that, everything is good, Michal rests her head upon her daughters. This 7-year-old wants to thank her classmates at Hebrew Academy for their prayers.
Thank you a lot for caring.
When we asked her to describe her grandfather, she says that he would take the long way to synagogue to pray. Why? So he could do, in her words, more mitzvot, which is acts of goodness and kindness. Listen to this Miami Beach Hebrew Academy 2nd grader explain it in her own words.
He was very nice, and he would go, there's 2 ways from Israel, because he lives in Israel. There's 2 ways to go to shul, goes to. So he goes the long way to get more mitzvah.
And that will be her memory. A man who didn't want to waste an opportunity to do something kind for another person.
Stay strong, even in front of other people. The last thing my father would have wanted out of this is either hatred or anger towards another party.
Today, psychologists were at Hebrew Academy. They were in the 2nd grade class, and they were trying to explain to the students what their classmate is now going through as she traveled to Israel. In the meantime, Hebrew Academy will continue to support and pray for this family. We're live on Miami Beach tonight. Rosh Lowe, 7 News.